Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare In Depth. In today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the 458 SOCOM M4 assault rifle, which is just the basic M4A1, but you use the ammo conversion to put on the 10-round 458 SOCOM mags that deal more damage. This was a very popular weapon when Warzone launched, however, I just never really got around to covering it. I played with it, no doubt, I tested it out, I learned things about it, but I didn't really put that much time into it, and what I wanted to do today was to compare it to the newly buffed FAL and kind of see how it stacks up to that weapon, because I think the new FAL is a serious contender for being the best weapon in Warzone right now, and I thought this one might be better, especially since it shoots faster and goes fully automatic. So let's start off where we normally start with in-depth and take a look at the damage. The 458 SOCOM M4 will deal 72 damage for a headshot, decreasing down to 66 at long ranges, so even very long-range headshots still do considerable damage. Body and limbs a little bit lower at 48 to 41 respectively, and unfortunately this is considerably less damage per shot than the new FAL. For those of you that haven't seen the previous episode, the new FAL will deal 78 damage for body shots and 105 for headshots. So landing a body shot with the FAL, it will deal more damage than landing a headshot with the 458 SOCOM M4, which is a rough start, no doubt, but I want to see if the full auto rate of fire and a few of the other features can make up for it. The rate of fire on this one in fully automatic mode is 600 rounds per minute, which is slightly faster than the FAL. The FAL is going to be around 500, kind of depending on your trigger finger. So this gun definitely shoots faster, and despite dealing lower damage, can make it a little more competitive in time to kill. Just not competitive enough. The 458 SOCOM M4 kills faster than almost anything else in Warzone other than the FAL. So it'll kill faster than any full auto SMG, any full auto assault rifle, LMG. The thing really does shred people. The problem is that the new FAL just shreds people that much faster. So this is the second fastest killing gun overall. And interestingly, I did notice that it kicks a lot less in semi-automatic. I thought that semi-auto would have the same recoil pattern as auto, just depending on how fast you clicked, but when I tested it out, I did a full auto burst and then dumped the semi-auto mag as fast as I possibly can, and semi-auto has half or perhaps less than half of the amount of recoil as going fully automatic, which I found to be very beneficial in my later games of Warzone, and generally speaking, I recommend running this one in semi-automatic as much as possible, and don't swap into full auto unless you're up close and getting really just ready to spray somebody. I will say that the recoil patterns and overall range are pretty similar to the FAL. They're both extremely long range, high velocity bullets. They don't have a lot of drop. They carry their damage over incredible distances. They both kick upward, if not somewhat awkwardly, but predictably. You would probably call them low recoil guns, but awkward feeling low recoil guns. So they perform very similarly in that regard. And most importantly, the 458 SOCOM can do something that the FAL cannot. It can go fully automatic to shred people up close, or perhaps far away if you're mounted. Mounting will really help you control that full auto recoil, but the FAL can't. The FAL is always semi-automatic unless you put the burst fire attachment on there, in which case it'll do a 3-round burst somewhat slower and with significantly increased recoil. But the problem with the burst FAL is that once you equip the burst, you can't select it back into semi-automatic anymore. This one gives you the option of going back and forth between fully auto and semi-auto as needed, which can be very useful because even though I prefer semi-auto for most of my engagements, I can't lie to you and say that it's not better to go full auto up close and just dump a mag into somebody and watch them die. It's actually quite fun, in my opinion. And that leads me to the next problem with this weapon. Magazine capacity is only 10, which is very rough. I mean, at least you have 210 in reserve, because even though you've basically tried to turn this into a DMR, it still uses basic assault rifle ammo, which is one of the most common in the game, and I think that's a good thing. But a 10-round mag with dealing less than 50 damage per shot if you're hitting the body means that you're going to need 6 shots to kill unless you're up close or needing headshots or something like that. So that's going to be problematic in my opinion, especially when you compare to the other weapons. The FAL has 20 rounds, the Odin has 20 rounds, the CR56 AMAX, which has a very similar damage and performance attributes, has 10 rounds, but just deals more damage per shot, so that makes it much more attractive than this one. Based on my gameplay experience and the suggestions of the couple hundred people in the Twitch chat, I noticed that the 458 SOCOM M4 does best when kitted for maximum recoil reduction. I basically put on a big heavy barrel, Grenadier or Corvus, whichever, poison you guys want. I do put on the monolithic suppressor instead of something like a compensator, but then I'm doing pretty much everything I can to reduce recoil on this weapon and make it very lasery, which is, it definitely helps my long-range engagements. It helps me control it a lot better in full auto, but it makes it kind of a slow weapon. I can't really snap heads with this one. I can't really, react very quickly. I truly need to be set up with this weapon to make it very effective. A lot of you have also recommended that I use the sniper scope, and I did try to do that. However, I found that that made the weapon so painfully slow I couldn't really use it like an assault rifle anymore. So then it just kind of became like an awkward DMR. I didn't have a very fun time with the sniper scope. I greatly preferred something like a VLK or some kind of hybrid sight. And at the end of the day with the 458 SOCOM, the weapon is just outclassed by the FAL and the new CR56 AMAX M67. So the CR56 AMAX M67 basically outclasses it except for the full auto abilities. It's more damage, more range, everything's great. The FAL outclasses both of these in my opinion, especially with the much larger mags, the ability to expand mags. You can have it snappy and long range deadly, has the fastest time to kill. Interestingly with the FAL compared to the CR56 AMAX or the M4A1 SOCOM is that you don't need to put a special attachment on there to get those abilities. It's just kind of awesome that way from the get-go. The FAL is just kind of good to go out of the box and you don't have to waste an attachment slot on anything else. However, there is one thing the M4 SOCOM really can do that others can't, and that's go full auto. So if you truly value being able to go full auto with your DMR when people rush you and get close to you, then it can be good. It can be a really good medium to close range harassment tool. It can shred people really, really hard up close if they're not expecting that headshot damage. And you can really surprise people in a close quarters combat situation. Most people aren't prepared to deal with this type of weapon in close quarters. I think it has interesting potential if you wanted to do a DMR sniper rifle class combo where you had a sniper rifle and then as your primary weapon you had some kind of DMR that would be, like an Odin, a CR56, or the FAL, or you could run the 458 SOCOM, and what might be useful is putting a hybrid sight on the SOCOM so that you can swap to red dot and fully automatic when people get close to you and still have a pretty good close quarters room clearing machine if you take advantage of the time to kill and maybe kit it for speed. I think that there's real potential in a class like that. I don't think that's the way that I want to play Warzone, or a lot of you do, but there are a few people that are kind of looking for an FAL, you can see where my mind is, for a DMR to pair with a sniper rifle, and the 458 SOCOM makes a decent addition for a class like that. But in general, I still think the FAL was better. Guys, that's all for this shorter and more opinioned episode of In Depth. Basically, I tried to make this work, but the FAL just kind of outclasses absolutely everything. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. Near the end of the episode, I wanted to ask you guys to leave recommendations down there in the chat for me to try out specific classes, specific weapons, certain things. I've seen the Uzi requested quite a lot, so the Uzi is on my radar. I'm trying to take another look at Odin classes or Burstfire M4s, and just try to find some new, interesting, meta-breaking things to keep the series going and keep you all entertained. So post down there below what you want to learn about, and I will be testing it out. Unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm is likely to punish me for videos that are less than 10 minutes long. So for the last 30-45 seconds or so here of this episode, I'm going to put in some of my best Call of Duty Twitter clips from this month, and I hope that you find them entertaining. Drifter out.
No way, I saw that.
Yes way.
You better
Whoa.
clip that.
I am clipping that. I think I just shot the rocket out of the air.
I think you did.
I just shot the rocket out of the air. I have
Yeah,
never
I've seen a clip of someone hitting one with a thermite, yeah.
Hey, we got an anger truck coming in, guys.
I'm gonna blow him up.
No.
Oh my god, that was
Oh my god.
A few moments later.
Oh my god, you got...
They're all three rushing your house right now.
Objectives updated. Move to the next location.
First M4. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Gas is in. Teammate was set. You'll fight for a chance to redeploy.
I got a squad wipe
Wanted
with the
target
burst
down.
M4, baby.
Solid work.